Hey guys, welcome back to my tutorial. So in this tutorial I'll be teaching you guys how to make a cross top. Some people call it a crossing V, depends on what you want to call it. Okay, first of all, to make this top, I'll first of all draft out the back pattern of the top. Okay, so this is the back pattern, so I'm going to draft out the back pattern first before I will use the back pattern to draft out the front. So first of all, I'm going to mark out the half length. Okay, that is the top of the length of the cross top. Okay, so when I'm done, I'll go ahead and mark out my under bust. So for this tutorial I used 15, then I now marked out my bust point, which is 11. Okay, so I have to label it, okay, so that people won't get confused: the bust point, under bust, and the half length. So when I was done, the next now I have to do is to mark out my zipper. Okay, this is optional. Maybe if the top actually is going to go with a zip, you mark out your zip allowance. But if it's not coming with a zip, you can just decide not to put the zip. You just exclude the zip allowance. Okay, so for this tutorial the top is going to have a zip allowance, so I am marking at 1.5 for my zip allowance. Okay, so I am marked out 1.5 for my zip allowance. Next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my shoulder. So my shoulder is 17 divided by 2 gives me 8.5. Then I added half inch, gives me 9. So I came down 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then I marked out my armhole curve. So guys, when I'm done marking my armhole curve, the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark out my neckline. Okay, so remember this is the back, so from the zip allowance I used 4 inches. Okay, so if you're plus size you can use 4 inches, but if you are slim you can use 3.5 or 3. Okay, so for this tutorial the person I'm using is a plus size, so I used 4. Then the length of the neck I used 1.5. Okay, so I drew the round curve. So guys, I am done marking everything out, so the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my body circumferences. Okay, so starting from my bust, I divided my bust by 4, and then I added 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I didn't want the allowance to be much, so I just used 1 inch for the allowance. So I've imputed my bust circumference. Okay, so I moved ahead and imputed my under bust circumference as well, then my waist circumference. So guys, when I'm done, I went ahead and connected my lines. So when I'm done, I'm just going to cut it out and then place it on my main fabric. Okay, so I'm going to cut that now and place it on my main fabric. Okay, so guys, now I am done cutting it out. I'm going to place it on my main fabric and cut out. Remember, this is the back. Okay, so guys, without wasting of time, so I'm done cutting it out, so I'm going to move over to the front. Okay, so to determine the front pattern of this crop of the top, I am going to fold in the 1.5 inch of my zip allowance. Okay, just watch very closely. I am going to fold in the 1.5 inch of my zip allowance. Okay, so when I'm done folding it in, remember this is we are now trying to draft out the front pattern. Okay, so pay very good attention. So when I'm done folding the 1.5 inch for my zip allowance, so I am going to come down by 7 inches. Okay, so this 7 inches is actually if you want this the crossing V to show your cleavages, if you want it to show your breast and everything, it depends on how you want it. But for this tutorial, my client doesn't want her cleavages to be out. Okay, our cleavages to be out, so that is why I use 7 inches. So you can use 7.5, you can use 8, you can use 9, depending on how you want yours to be. Okay, so but I advise that you use 7 if you don't want your cleavage to be out. Okay, so having marked out 7 inches, so the next thing I'm going to do is at the downside. Okay, so now I've marked out 7 inches. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down. Okay, come up by 3 inches. Okay, I have to come up by 3 inches. Then I'll go to my neckline. You see, okay, that is where my neckline is. I'm going to measure it out and know what I got. So I got 5 inches, so I'm going to go at the upper part and then place that 5 inches. That is for my shoulder. Okay, so having placed it, I am now going to connect that 7 inches I marked down to the 3 inches I went up and the down part. Okay, so I'm going to make a slant curve version. Okay, connecting it to the 3 inches downside. So when I'm done connecting, I'm now going to connect it to the shoulder part. Okay, so that is it. So when you are done, you will just cut it out and then cut it on your other fabric, on your main fabric. Okay, so guys, I am done cutting it out. So I'm going to place it on my main fabric and then cut exactly what I drafted out in my paper. Okay, so when I'm done, I am going to cut another one. Okay, like this piece that I'm cutting out is going to be 2. It's not just going to be a single piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the front. Okay, I'll make sure that the front is actually facing each other, then I will cut out the second part. Okay, so when I'm done cutting, I'll just make sure that the front are facing each other, then I will cut the second part and then I will cross it together. So thank you guys for watching my video. I am going to see you in my next video. Bye.